I recently did something no police chief ever expects to do. I let two men in fake uniforms cuff me on my own porch, while the HOA president stood nearby, grinning like she'd just won the lottery. Their reason? A violation of community bylaws. What they really tested that day wasn't my compliance. It was my patience. But to understand how I got there, I need to start at the beginning. I stood in the middle of my new living room, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes and the smell of fresh paint, the scent of a clean slate. One box was labeled kitchen. Another said old files burn. That one made me smile. My late wife had written it. Her humor as dry as the Arizona air I'd left behind. Inside those boxes were decades of my life, commendations, case notes, the ghosts of 20 years in uniform, 15 years in SWAT, the last 5 as chief of police. This house was supposed to be my reward, my retreat from the noise. The street was lined with big oak trees, the lawns were green, and the loudest sound in the morning was birdsong instead of sirens. My grandfather used to say, "A man's home is his castle, but the best castles have quiet neighbors." I hoped he was right. For 3 weeks, it felt perfect. I unpacked, set up my workshop in the garage, met Duke across the street, a mountain of a man permanently attached to a leaf blower, and a young family that brought me cookies to welcome me in. I started to breathe again, to sleep through the night. Then one morning, I found a red sheet of paper tucked under my truck's wiper. Violation notice. Apparently, my grass was a 1/4 inch too high. Section 4, Paragraph B of the Oak Street Community Covenants. A $50 fine, signed by one Karen Van Fleet, HOA president. I looked at my lawn, then at my neighbors. They were identical. That old tightening in my gut returned. The one I get when I see a bully testing the waters. Not anger yet, just that cold sense of duty. I'd seen this pattern before. Give a small person a whiff of power, and they'll start building empires out of thin air. I folded the paper, put it in my pocket, and told myself to ignore it. That was my first mistake. The next day, there were 2 notices. One for the lawn again, another for leaving my trash can visible 3 hours too long. The fines were now $125. Karen Van Fleet was efficient. I'd give her that. The wording had changed too. Immediate compliance. Further action. It was intimidation in print. Cheap theater meant to scare the kind of people who don't know the difference between a bylaw and a bluff. My grandfather's words echoed in my head. Pocket tyrants, boy. Small people making big noise. He'd say, "Don't let weeds grow roots." I looked out the window and saw her, a woman walking a tiny yapping dog, clipboard in hand, posture stiff with self-importance. She stopped at my lawn, scribbled something, and looked up. Our eyes met. No smile, just that smug, self-satisfied look that said she thought this entire street belonged to her. My quiet neighborhood suddenly felt occupied. The test was over. Now it was my move. And for someone like me, there's only one way to deal with a bully wearing a paper crown. You don't just prove her wrong, you dismantle her entire kingdom. The next morning, I drove not to the station, but to the county clerk's office. The old marble building smelled like dust and truth. Facts live here, not opinions. At the counter sat a tired woman with glasses hanging from a chain. "Can I help you?" she asked flatly. "Yes, ma'am," I said, sliding her the HOA name. Oak Street Homeowners Association. She typed, squinted, typed again, then looked up. "There's no record of an HOA by that name. Not in this county." I nodded, expected, but now I had confirmation. "Could you check for variations?" She did. "Nothing. Never registered, never filed," she said. "Zoned single-family residential since the 70s. No covenants on record." She looked at the red notice I showed her and gave a small, humorless smile. "One of these," she muttered, "happens more often than you think. Somebody gets bored and decides to play queen of the block, prints a letterhead. Most folks just pay." She was right. Bullies thrive on silence. I asked for a certified letter stating no HOA existed under that name or any variation. Official letterhead, notarized seal, $25. "Make it 2 copies, I said. When she handed me the documents, they felt heavier than paper. They were a weapon, quiet, lawful, and devastatingly effective. I could have marched right to Karen's door, ended it there. But she wouldn't stop. Not people like her. She'd just find another angle, another name. You don't scare a wolf away. You cage it. The letter proved she had no authority. Now I needed proof of her crimes. For that, she had to keep playing. She needed to think she was winning. On the drive home, I called Lieutenant Danny Reyes, sharp, loyal, and the best investigator I ever trained. Danny, it's Mark, I said. Everything okay, Chief? You're supposed to be on vacation. Mostly. Need a background check. Quiet. Off the books. I gave her the name. She chuckled. What'd she do, criticize your lawn? Something like that, I said. Start with priors, financials, known associates. Desktop only. No official file. You got it, she said. This one of your projects? I could hear the grin. My projects were department legend. Small cases that turned out to be rotten to the core. Let's just say I found a weed in my garden, I told her, and I'm gonna need a bigger shovel. That night, my quiet house turned into a command post. I unpacked a box of old equipment, micro cameras, facial trackers, plate readers, all legal, all discreet. I tested each one, syncing them to a private server. Then I swapped a shirt button with a high-fidelity mic, clear enough to pick up a whisper. Finally, I slipped on a black ring that could trigger a silent alert with 2 quick taps. It would ping Danny's phones, open a live feed from my cameras and mic. My panic button. I'd never needed it before, but something told me I might soon. The house was quiet again, the smell of paint still faint in the air. My castle was now a fortress. I stared at the ring, at the screens showing my street outside, and felt that familiar pre-operation calm settle in. The kind that comes before everything changes. The part of me that's seen too many crime scenes, too many broken people, clicks into gear. My world-weary side fades, and what's left is pure instinct, protective, focused, unshakable. I've been patient long enough. I will not be a victim in my own home. I will not let this woman turn fear into currency on this street. She's built her little kingdom on intimidation, so I'll use the one thing she can't control, evidence. The truth, recorded, time-stamped, unshakable. I call Boone, one of my sturdiest patrol officers, ex-military, quiet, the kind of man who never panics, even under fire. Boone, it's Rylan, I say. Chief, everything all right? He asks. Need you on standby. Unofficial. You might get a call from Lieutenant Reyes. If you do, take an unmarked unit and move fast. No questions. His reply is short, steady. Yes, sir. That's Boone. No hesitation. No need for details. Then I make 2 quick calls to Duke across the street and the young family who brought me cookies when I moved in. Hey, this is Mark Ryland, I tell them, having a little disagreement with our friendly neighborhood HOA president. If you see any commotion around my place, mind filming it from your window? Just for my records. Duke chuckles. That woman's a piece of work. Tried to find me once because my garden gnome wasn't community compliant. You got it, Chief. The young couple sounds nervous but agrees. They're scared, and that's exactly the kind of people Karen preys on. Now I've got eyes everywhere. Cameras inside, neighbors outside. A live network of good people tired of being pushed around. The calm settles over me, the kind that comes before a raid. It's familiar, electric. You've done the prep. You've checked your gear. You've briefed your team. Now you wait for the enemy to make their move, and they always do. By evening, there's another red notice on my door. This one's bold, $500 fine, legal action pending, a lien on my property. It's nonsense, all of it. But fear doesn't need truth. It just needs confidence. I crumple it, toss it away. I'm done reacting. I've set the trap, and tomorrow, I know she'll spring it. They'll come with fake badges, fake papers, fake authority, and I'll let them. I'll play the part. I'll smile, comply, and record every second. The next morning dawns gray and heavy. Perfect. I put on the shirt with the hidden mic, slip the panic ring on my finger, make coffee, and wait. Around 10, a dark SUV pulls up to the curb, tinted windows, overcompensation on 4 wheels. 2 men step out in fake police uniforms. To an untrained eye, they look real. Navy shirts, badges, shoulder patches. But the details give them away. The crest is off. The stitching is new. The numbers don't match. They move wrong too. No discipline. No awareness. I've trained cops for 20 years. Real officers move like a unit. These 2, they move like thugs in costume. And then she steps out, Karen Van Fleet herself, clipboard in hand, blazer sharp, posture radiating smug authority. She points to my door like a queen commanding her knights. Duke's curtains twitch. The young mother next door peers through her blinds. Phone ready. Perfect. My audience is in position. The goons pound on my door. A knock. Pound. A demand. I take a slow breath. Open it. Wearing my best, concerned homeowner expression. Can I help you? I ask. The bigger one puffs up his chest. Mark Ryland? We have a warrant for your arrest. He hands me a sheet of paper. Fake seal, fake signature, fake everything. The judge listed retired 5 years ago. The charge? Criminal defiance of community bylaws. Legal gibberish at its finest. This seems extreme for a lawn fine, I say evenly. Karen steps forward, her lips curling. You were warned, Mr. Ryland. We don't tolerate lawbreakers on Oak Street. You brought this on yourself. I glance between her and the imposters. They're standing on my property, waving forged documents, pretending to be officers of the law. That's impersonation. That's extortion. That's prison time. And they have no idea. I raise my hand slowly. No trouble, I say. I'll comply. Relief flashes across their faces. They were expecting a fight. Instead, I give them silence. Controlled, composed, dangerous. The big one cuffs me. Cheap steel, sloppy grip, too tight. He doesn't know the proper way to secure a suspect. I don't flinch. I just look at Karen and smile. A small, knowing one. Her face tightens. Wipe that smirk off your face, she hisses. You're in serious trouble. They march me down the sidewalk. The classic perp walk. They want the neighbors to see it. To see me humiliated. They want to make an example. What they don't realize is that I want the same thing. Phones are recording. My button mic is live. Across the street, Duke's filming. The young mom too. Multiple angles. Chain of custody already uploading to the department cloud. Every frame logged. Every timestamp sealed. Duke's leaf blower roars to life. A signal. He steps out, calm, coffee mug in one hand. Noise violation. Karen snaps. 90 decibels. Duke grins. What? Sorry, I only enforce non-compliance. The smaller goon flinches, hand near his holster. I tilt my head. Careful with that prop hero. The neighborhood is alive now. Eyes everywhere. The goons feel it. The big one tightens the cuffs, trying to reassert control. I wince just enough for the camera and smile wider at Karen. This time, I see the first flicker of fear behind her eyes. As they push me toward the SUV, my thumb brushes the ring. 1 tap, 2 taps. The panic signal goes out. Somewhere across the city, Lieutenant Reyes's phone lights up. She sees what I see. Here's what I hear. She knows it's time. You're making a big mistake, I tell the goons, loud enough for the mic to catch it. Impersonating a police officer is a felony in this state. The smaller one snickers. Just shut up and get in the car, old manual. They shove me inside. The door slams. They think they've won. They think they're taking me away. They don't realize they're the ones in custody now, by the invisible hands of real law. My tracker's already active. I planted it seconds earlier, when I stumbled near the SUV bumper. One quick touch, and the magnet snapped onto the frame. Live signal. Real-time feed. Reyes has the dot on her screen. Boone's already rolling in his unmarked car. Units shadowing from a distance. No lights. No sirens. Just quiet hunters following the prey that thinks it's in control. The SUV smells like cheap cologne and stale coffee. The goons are laughing. Not so tough now, huh? The smaller one sneers, turning around. Should have paid the fine. I just stare at him. No words. Silence. Steady and cold. It unnerves him. He turns back around, muttering. The driver makes a call. Yeah, we got him. No problem. Heading to the spot now. Reporting to Karen, no doubt. That's conspiracy. Another felony. I sit back, calm, watching the city roll by through tinted glass. Somewhere out there, Reyes's voice is echoing through police radios. Boone's closing in. Units setting up, waiting for the perfect place. They think they're driving me to fear. What they don't realize is they're driving straight into an ambush of justice. This is the part of the job that feels like chess, quiet, calculated, and merciless. Every move has a purpose. Every second counts. I'm already 3 steps ahead, and Karen and her crew don't even realize they're still playing checkers. They just pushed their king into the open with no cover, and they don't know that checkmate is seconds away. The guys in the front seat are bickering over how they'll spend the $500 Karen gave them. Cheap talk about beer and video games. Their minds are small. Their ambitions, smaller. But their crime? That's not small at all. They're too clueless to sense the walls closing in around them. I lean my head back, steady my breathing, the same way I've done before every high-risk operation in my career. Calm, steady, controlled. The SUV takes a sharp turn toward an industrial park, empty warehouses, long straight roads, and perfect sight lines. A perfect place for an ambush. Too perfect. The passenger turns and sneers. When we let you go, you're gonna forget this ever happened. You'll go home, pay your fines, and keep your mouth shut. We know where you live. It's the final piece of the puzzle, the direct threat I needed. Everything's recorded. Impersonation, abduction, extortion, and now the threat. Case closed. I answer flatly. Understood. What I really understand is that they just destroyed their own lives. They think they're in control, holding all the cards. But outside this vehicle, the real players are already in position. The board is about to flip. The SUV slows down as we reach the industrial park. The world outside blurs into gray, empty lots and echoing silence. The driver scans for a quiet corner to dump me. He doesn't notice the old construction van pulling out ahead, forcing him to slow. He curses, annoyed, unaware it's part of the plan. He doesn't see the black sedan slide up behind us, boxing us in, or the dark pickup to the left, Boone's truck. Boone's calm, composed, ready. A faint vibration pulses through my shoe. The receiver hidden inside gives one short buzz. Danny's signal. Takedown initiated. The van in front slams its brakes. The driver panics and slams his too. Tires scream. The SUV jerks to a halt. Behind us, the sedan closes in tight. Boone's truck swerves left, blocking any escape. In 2 seconds, we're trapped in a rolling box. What the hell is this? The driver yells, white-knuckled. The passenger's voice cracks. I don't know, man. I don't know. They still think it's some traffic mix-up. They can't imagine how fast control just slipped from their hands. Then, doors burst open all around us. Tactical teams pour out. Real cops in real gear, shouting commands that cut like thunder. Police. Hands where we can see them. Now, the chaos is precise, loud, overwhelming, and completely by design. It freezes them in place. Their fake authority crumbles instantly. Their eyes go wide, faces pale, pure panic replacing the arrogance. Hands on the dash. Boone's voice booms through the driver's window, weapon steady, expression unreadable. The driver obeys. The passenger's trembling so hard his hands barely stay still. The SUV's back doors rip open. 2 officers stand there. One's a rookie I trained myself, but his stance is solid. Chief, you okay, sir? I'm fine, I say calmly. Get these off me. The fake cuffs click open and fall away. I rub my wrists, step out, and breathe in the cold air of control. I'm not the victim anymore. I'm the chief of police, and this is my scene. Officers drag the 2 suspects out, press them against the hood, and cuff them with real handcuffs this time. The passengers crying, babbling excuses. It was just a joke, man. The driver says nothing. He knows it's over. Boone walks over, holding 2 guns. Passenger had an airsoft in a shoulder holster. Driver had a real 9mm. Serials filed off. My stomach tightens. That turns this from a local crime to a federal case. Good work, I say. Tear that vehicle apart. I want everything cataloged. Danny arrives, already on the phone with the judge. One look from her says it all. We got them. They threatened me, admitted they were paid. I tell her. We've got kidnapping, impersonation, extortion, firearms. It's enough. Get warrants for Karen Van Fleet's house, car, and every storage unit in her name. She nods, typing fast. Already in motion, Chief. The park transforms into a crime scene. Yellow tape fluttering in the wind. Forensics swarm the SUV, dusting, photographing, bagging everything. The first thing they find is a stack of fake violation notices. Below that, a binder full of maps with houses circled in red, mine included. Then a lockbox under the seat, fake badges, bundles of cash with addresses scribbled on sticky notes, extortion money, receipts for fear. And then, the jackpot, A burner phone. Danny's team cracks it under a new warrant. I hand it to Tech. Pull everything, text calls, GPS. I want to know who they called before and after the grab. That phone will be the smoking gun that ties this crew directly to Karen. As the search continues, I walk up to the driver's patrol car. I lean in, my voice cold but steady. That gun under your seat. That's a federal felony. Add kidnapping and impersonation. You're looking at 30 years minimum. He's crying now, shoulders shaking. Your buddy's already talking. I add quietly. He's making a deal. You'll rot while he walks. I close the door and give the same speech to the passenger. Divide and conquer. Let paranoia do the rest. Then Boone approach us, holding up a plastic evidence bag. Inside, a ring of keys. One stamped for Stokoe Self-Storage, Unit 218, he says. Rented to Karen Van Fleet's LLC. I take the bag and stare at it. A storage unit. Perfect for hiding evidence. Amateur move. Boone, I say. Take a team. Quiet entry. I want eyes on that unit before Karen even realizes her boys are gone. He nods, gears up, and walks off into the cold evening. The next move in a game Karen doesn't even know she's already lost. Boone nods, understanding the unspoken urgency. He takes the keys and heads out with his team. Moments later, my tech analyst jogs up, laptop in hand, his face pale with disbelief. Chief, you need to see this. He turns the screen toward me. The burner phone's call log is open. The last outgoing call was made to a contact labeled K-Boss. We run the number, and there it is, registered to Karen Van Fleet. Then he scrolls to the messages. The last text sent reads, "Is it done? Is the trash taken out?" My stomach turns. That's not just instruction. That's intent. That's how killers talk. That one line transforms this entire case from fraud into something much darker. She wasn't trying to intimidate. She wanted to erase. Now, everything fits. The cash, the fake badges, the extortion notes, the recordings. All the threads converge into one undeniable picture. The case is airtight. All we need now is the heart of her operation, and the key in Boone's pocket is about to open it. The self-storage complex sprawls across several acres. Rows of orange and blue doors stretching under floodlights. A quiet graveyard for secrets. Unit 218 waits near the back, nondescript, unnoticed, exactly how Karen liked it. Boone and his team are already there, standing by. The key slides in smoothly, turns once, and clicks. She didn't even bother changing the lock. Let's see what she's hiding, I say. Boone snips the facility lock, rolls the door up, and the stale air that seeps out smells of dust, paper, and printer ink. The light flickers on. What's inside isn't clutter or storage. It's a command center. A desk. A printer worth thousands. Filing cabinets lining the walls. Stacks of envelopes and reams of red paper. This isn't junk. It's production. The birthplace of every fake notice, every phony violation, every fear she sold to her neighbors. We start opening drawers. The first one is labeled Oak Street. Inside are neatly organized files. Every house on my street, including mine. My name, my property details, even copies of the fake notices she sent. Behind them, files for people who moved away. Paper-clipped receipts, cash checks, even notes describing which victims were soft targets. Some families had paid thousands just to stop the harassment. Each folder is another life she poisoned. Other drawers reveal even more. Willow Creek, Pine Ridge, Maple Lane, neighborhoods across the city. She'd cloned her scam over and over. A network of fake HOAs run by one woman. It wasn't just greed. It was empire building. Then we find the jackpot. Her corporate ledgers. Dozens of shell LLCs, each tied to fake bank accounts and deposits that trace back to the same scam. The next drawer stops us cold. Inside are blank court documents with forged signatures, fake county seals, and counterfeit property liens. This isn't just extortion anymore. It's organized fraud on a citywide scale. Dani arrives just as we finish cataloging the evidence. I show her the ledgers, the checks, the forgeries. Her calm cracks for the first time. She pulls one file labeled Willow Creek, Mrs. Ellison, age 82. It includes a letter threatening foreclosure over untrimmed rose bushes and a note in Karen's handwriting. Soft target, likely to comply. Dani's voice hardens. She preyed on the elderly. That's the breaking point for me. Every ounce of patience, every detached ounce of procedure evaporates. We've got enough, I say. Lock her down. Danny nods, already typing. Her board meetings tonight. Garage at her place. We got it from the burner phone. Perfect. The queen is still sitting on her throne. It's time to pull the rug out. The street is quiet when we roll in. Unmarked units at both ends. Officers stationed behind trees and fences. I'm with Boone's entry team in Duke's backyard, crouched low. Inside Karen's garage, muffled voices drift through the walls. The meeting is in full swing. My directional mic catches her words. Sharp and cold. He was supposed to be handled. Now he's missing, and so are my employees. This incompetence reflects poorly on our organization. Our organization. That's what she calls it. Like she's running a corporation, not a criminal racket. Danny's voice whispers in my ear from command. All units in position. Go on your mark, Chief. I look at my team, 4 solid officers, ready, steady. Let's end this, I whisper. We move fast, silent across the grass. The side door is unlocked, her arrogance again. I twist the knob. Inside, Karen's voice is rising in frustration. When I find them, they'll learn what loyalty means. I push the door open hard. Police, don't move. We flood the room. Her so-called board, 2 terrified neighbors, freeze with their hands up. Karen turns, her expression morphing from confusion to fury, then finally to horror when she recognizes me. For a heartbeat, she's speechless. Then she screams, knocking over her podium and bolting toward the inner door. Boone intercepts her mid-stride. She shoves him, a desperate, ridiculous move, but he doesn't even flinch. He grabs her arm. She thrashes, yelling, "Get your hands off me. I'm the president of this HOA. I have rights." I walk toward her, calm, deliberate. "You have the right to remain silent." I pull out my cuffs and snap one onto her wrist. The metallic click echoes through the garage like a gunshot. "Karen Van Fleet, you're under arrest for extortion, racketeering, conspiracy to defraud, criminal impersonation, and forgery of a government seal." She glares at me, eyes burning. "You can't do this. I'll sue. I'll take your badge." I close the second cuff, tell it to the judge. Outside, red and blue lights flare to life. Neighbors spill out onto porches, staring as their self-appointed queen is led away in chains. It's over. The fear that gripped this street for months finally breaks. She's silent now, jaw clenched, pride dissolving under the flashing lights. A month later, the neighborhood feels reborn. Coffee on my porch, kids on bikes, Juke mowing his lawn. Peace. Real peace. Karen's empire collapsed in record time. The storage unit, the ledgers, the phone, the money, all airtight. Her 2 enforcers pled out. She didn't. The judge called it a campaign of fear built on forged authority. 15 years in federal prison. No parole for 10. No more HOA. No more fake power. Just cold steel and consequences. Restitution checks are already in the mail. Every lien voided. Every stolen dollar traced and returned. Other towns exposed copycats. All shut down. The whole scam vanished as fast as it began. I set my grandpa's photo on the mantle, beside his old wrench. He used to say, "Rules serve people, not the other way around." I finally understand that. Karen tried to rule with fear. We answered with proof, steady, undeniable proof. The street is quiet again, earned quiet, the kind that means peace, not silence. And if anyone ever tries to pull that same trick here again, they won't meet a fake board. They'll meet the law.